evening, everyone. How are you all feeling? Come on, that's it. All right. Well, technically, I'm here to talk about modeling and pageantry and my journey in it. But the truth is that that's not the only thing that I'm here to talk about. Today, I'm going to be talking about your journey. I am going to be talking about the two things that we often run away from, but the only two things that we actually need in our life to lead a successful life, to lead a successful career. And those two things are delusion and discomfort. Let me start with delusion. Ever since I was a child, I always knew I had something special, something that was unique. And no, I don't mean it in an arrogant way. I actually mean it in a very quiet and humbling way. I always felt like I did not fit in with my peers. But it was later that I realized it was because I was always meant to stand out. And that is what delusion is. I didn't have any guarantees, I didn't have any achievements, any milestones. The only thing that I did have was an unreasonable belief in myself and in my future before the present could give me the evidence. But here's what we don't talk about. Delusion without action is useless. It's meaningless. Because delusion, if not followed by action, is just a fantasy, just an imagination. And that is where the second force comes in. Discomfort. Not the kind that hurts you, not the kind that breaks you, but the kind of discomfort that you choose. Let me ask you all, who all have ever gone out of their comfort zone to achieve something, to grow, even when your body wanted to retreat? Raise your hands. That's what I love to see. And let me give you my own example. 3 months ago, I don't think I would have ever been able to even think that I would be standing here on the stage of TEDxAmity University, Noida, and talking and giving a 20-minute speech. It's ironic because, in pageantry, there are different segments. There's walk, there's talk, there's presenting yourself, there's standing out, and I always felt confident in each and every one of them, except for one, communication. So it's very ironic that I'm here today, but it wouldn't have ever been possible if I didn't go out of my comfort zone. Discomfort is volunteering to be seen before you feel ready. It's sending that mail before that you're too scared to send. It's entering into rooms that you feel like you don't belong in yet. It's raising your hand, even when your voice is shaking. But the truth is, the moment you leave your comfort zone, you don't automatically feel brave. Instead, quite the opposite, you feel exposed, you feel awkward. But that feeling is not fear. That feeling is the exact sensation of growth. And every meaningful chapter in my life started the same way, with an unreasonable belief in myself and a constant conscious choice towards discomfort. The more I chose discomfort, the more my delusion started looking like intuition. So what happens is when you choose that discomfort again and again and again, life starts treating you differently. You start being trusted with those bigger rooms, with bigger responsibilities, with bigger consequences. And that's when the game changes. At some point, the discomfort stops being just private, it becomes public. So going out of your comfort zone in private, that's one thing, but doing so publicly, that's an entirely different game. There's another kind of discomfort in representing something bigger than yourself. When your name is not just your name, when your voice is not just your voice, when your face is not just your face, when you are not just a human anymore, but a symbol of expectation, of identity, of motivation, and of inspiration. I remember standing there and realizing, when I was representing India, that this is what my delusion was training me for. Visibility magnifies everything. You realize that very quickly in this field. It magnifies your confidence, your silence, your mistakes. But that's when you realize that you have to learn control. Because when you are in public, people compare you, people judge you, they have opinions about you, and you don't have the luxury of reacting the way that you want to. So you learn control. You learn how to listen without absorbing, how to listen without letting it affect you. There were moments when I didn't move forward, moments when I didn't get the result that I hoped for. But what surprised me wasn't the disappointment, it was the clarity. Because in that moment when I was standing on that stage, lights on, hearts racing, I realized that failure isn't what we think that it feels like. Failure doesn't announce itself, it just asks you one question. Who are you if this does not go your way? What kind of a person are you then? Earlier, that question terrified me, but later, it grounded me. Because I stopped outsourcing my self-worth for things that I could not control. And once that happens, something shifts. You stop trying to be chosen, you start choosing. You use platforms not as validation, but as tools. Tools to talk about your ambition without apology. Tools to take up space. Tools to talk about how strength doesn't have to look a certain way. Eventually, I realized why I stayed. And it was not because it was comfortable or easy, because trust me, it was not, but because it forced growth at a pace that I could not negotiate with. It demanded presence, it demanded discipline, it demanded self-awareness, but most of all, it demanded responsibility. Because when people are watching you, especially younger women, you become evidence. Evidence of what it costs, evidence of what is possible. And I think we do people a disservice when we only show them the shine and not the stretch. Because trust me, becoming is not gentle. It's hard, it's tough, it's heavy. People often think that representation is glamorous, maybe on the outside in pageantry, but not on the inside. You need delusion to dream beyond evidence. You need discomfort to walk towards that dream, even when you want to retreat. And here's what people misunderstand. Discomfort does not disappear once you succeed. People often like to think that fear completely replaces confidence, but that never happens. In fact, even while I was walking on the stage, right now, my heart was beating out of my chest, even after being on stage so many times, talking so many times. That doesn't happen. The only thing that changes is that earlier, that fear controlled your decisions, but now, fear becomes information. And now you are in control of it. Now you know what is real danger and when is it that your body is just resisting change. And that discernment is maturity. Another thing that discomfort teaches you. You stop rushing to prove yourself. You stop reacting to every opinion. You stop explaining your choices to people who don't live with their consequences. Discomfort teaches you that not everyone needs to understand you for you to be aligned with yourself. So this is especially difficult when you're visible, because visibility invites commentary. Every single person has an opinion of who you should be, what you should do, and earlier I tried to hold on to all of it. I tried to hold on to the praise, the criticism, the judgments, the opinions, but it made me immobile. I could not move physically, mentally. And that's when I realized I had to filter. I had to understand that I can't take it all with me, and so I stopped listening to external opinions, and that's when the game changed. Discomfort teaches you patience as well. Not passive patience, but active patience. I'll tell you what, today's generation is all about, it's loud, it's all about announcements, it's about visible success, it's about just visible success. And what you realize eventually is that the real growth lies in the invisible middle. The times when no one else is clapping for you. The times when success might feel internal or unshareable. And that is where most people give up. Not because they are not talented, but because they mistake quiet for stagnation. So that is what discomfort does. It teaches you to stay even when your motivation fluctuates. And with time, you understand, you realize that confidence is not loud. You stop romanticizing confidence and you start respecting competence. And this is especially the case when you represent something bigger than yourself, whether it's a country, a community, or a possibility. You realize very quickly that your behavior speaks louder than your words. There were moments when I questioned myself, moments when the scrutiny felt unfair, when my body wanted to retreat. But every single time I came back to the same truth, that the growth that doesn't challenge you doesn't change you, and isn't change the entire point. Success without self-respect is hollow. Visibility without integrity is fragile, and achievement without grounding is exhausting. Delusion gives you vision. Discomfort gives you structure, and together, they create capacity. Capacity to lead without dominating, to inspire without pretending, and to occupy space without apology. Maybe that's what I want to leave you with today. Not a formula, not a motivational slogan, not a checklist, but an invitation. An invitation for you to believe in yourself before it makes sense. An invitation for you to choose discomfort, even when your body wants to retreat, to say yes to that opportunity. Because trust me, one day when you look back at the things that once scared you, you will realize that they were not obstacles. They were preparation for the person that you are meant to be in this lifetime. Thank you.